Welcome to the Explainer. So today we're going to talk about a project that can totally transform a room, putting in laminate flooring. But we're not going to focus on the fun part, the easy part, clicking all the planks together. Nope. We're going to get into the real secret that separates a beautiful professional job from a total DIY disaster. And it all starts with the foundation, way before you even lay that first plank. You've seen the pictures, right? These gorgeous, seamless laminate floors that just completely elevate a space. But I bet you've also heard the horror stories. The squeaks, the gaps, the planks that start to buckle. Well, the difference between that dream floor and a constant squeaky headache, it all boils down to one single thing. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Our source expert, a contractor named James Miller, puts it perfectly. He says the success of the entire project is basically decided before you even open a box of flooring. So let's dive in and break down what that pro-level prep actually looks like. Okay, so first things first. Why are we even talking about putting laminate on a wood subfloor? Is that the best way to go? Well, let's take a look at why this combination, when you do it right, is what the pros consider a total match made in heaven. This is where it gets really cool. See, laminate is what's called a floating floor. That means you don't nail it, you don't glue it down, it literally just floats on top. This is huge because it means the floor can naturally expand and contract with changes in temperature and humidity. And guess what? A wood subfloor does the exact same thing. So they move together like a team, which is the key to preventing all those buckling and gapping issues that drive people crazy. All right, so you're on board with the idea. You're ready to go shopping. But wait. Before you even think about cracking open a box of planks, you have to do a thorough inspection of your subfloor. This is the step that really separates the pros from the amateurs. It is absolutely non-negotiable. You've heard this a million times, but for flooring, it is the golden rule. Our source material really hammers this home. Trust me, taking a little bit of time right now to find and fix the small stuff, it is going to save you from some massive, expensive headaches down the road. So let's look at exactly what you need to be checking for. Your inspection has to be methodical, and it's got to focus on these three critical things. First, you're going to walk every single inch of that room, feel any spongy spots, hear any squeaks, get some painter's tape, and mark them right away. That means a board is loose. Next, you check for levelness, and we'll get to the magic number for that in a sec. And finally, and this is so important, you got to measure the moisture content. Too much moisture in that wood can get trapped under your new floor, and that'll cause your laminate to warp from the bottom up. And here it is. This is the number that matters more than anything else in this entire project. When a pro says a floor needs to be level, this is what they mean. You can't have any dips or bumps bigger than 3/16 of an inch over a 10-foot stretch. That's about the thickness of 2 quarters stacked on top of each other. It sounds tiny, right? But if your floor is off by more than that, those little locking systems on the planks, they just won't click together securely. And that, right there, is the root cause of almost every gap and squeak you'll ever find. So how do you fix it? Honestly, it's way simpler than you might think. For any high spots, you literally just sand them down. For the low spots, the dips, you use a product called a self-leveling compound. You just pour it on and spread it out. It's kind of magic. Tackling these two things is probably the single most important physical step you can take to guarantee a solid foundation for your floor. Okay, inspection's done. You've marked all your problem spots. Now it's time to roll up our sleeves and get to work. Let's get into the hands-on prep that builds toward that flawless, professional-looking finish. This 4-step process, this is your blueprint. First, you go back to those squicky spots you marked and drive screws through the subfloor into the joists below to lock them down. Second, you level the whole surface, sanding and filling like we just talked about. Third, you clean, and I mean you clean obsessively. And fourth, you roll out your underlayment. That's that thin layer of foam that gives you cushioning and a moisture barrier. Do not skip a single one of these steps. I really want to pause on this point for a second. It sounds so basic, right? Clean the floor. But you cannot overclean the subfloor. Think about it. Even one tiny little pebble, a stray screw, or a clump of sawdust left behind can create a pressure point under the new floor. That can cause a weird bump or a clicking sound that will haunt you forever. So sweep, vacuum, and then you know what? Vacuum again. All right, deep breath. All that crucial prep work is done. The groundwork is laid, the canvas is clean. Now, finally, we get to start laying that beautiful new floor. You knew it was coming, didn't you? This old advice is never, ever more important than right now. If you rush through the installation, you're going to have miscuts, wasted planks, and mistakes that you will see every single day. Patience, right now, is your absolute best friend. So here it is, the whole game plan in one shot. Step 1, and you absolutely cannot skip this, is you have to let the unopened boxes of flooring sit in the room for at least 48 hours. They need to get used to the room's climate. Then, once your underlayment is down, you start your first row, using little spacers against the wall for that expansion gap we talked about. After that, you just get into a rhythm. Stagger the seams, tap the planks together nice and tight, and then finish it all off with your baseboards.
Let's talk about staggering the seams for just a second. You might think it's just about looks, avoiding those weird grid patterns on the floor. And yeah, it does look way better. But more importantly, staggering is a structural thing. It spreads the weight and pressure out over multiple boards, which locks the entire floor together into one giant, solid unit. It makes the whole floor stronger.
So the last plank clicks into place, you stand back, and it looks amazing. But hold on, the job isn't quite done yet. Now we need to talk about how to protect all your hard work and keep that floor looking great for years to come. Taking care of it is actually really simple, but it's so important. The number one rule, the big one, is never, ever wet mop a laminate floor. Water is its mortal enemy. Just use a dry mop or a vacuum. Try to keep your home's humidity pretty stable, and please, for the love of your new floor, put felt pads on the bottom of all of your furniture. A single chair being dragged across the floor can leave a scratch that'll be there forever. Look, a huge part of any successful DIY project is knowing your own limits. And while this gives you the blueprint for success, there are definitely times when stepping back and calling a professional is the absolute smartest move you can make. If you run into any of these red flags, just make the call. If your subfloor feels like a trampoline or has some serious damage, if the room is shaped like a weird geometry problem with tons of angles, or if you even think you might have a moisture issue coming from below, a pro can save you a fortune in future repairs. It's a small investment for some major peace of mind. And that really brings us full circle, doesn't it? In the end, the success, the durability, the beauty of your new floor, it all comes back to the care and the attention to detail you put in at the very beginning. From that first inspection to the final cleaning, getting the foundation right is everything. So the real question isn't just how to do it, but what's the first step you're going to take to prepare your own canvas?